Good afternoon, classmates. I would like to share with you a little bit more about China's conflict with the former Soviet Union until today, regarding the Amur River and the islands within it. The topic's name is "The Island is Mine," and as we go through this topic, I want you to bear in mind 5 important questions. Where is the Amur River? What was the conflict all about? Why? What happened? And when did it happen? There is a long border between China and Russia. In history, there used to be large-scale military conflict for these borders. All this since the 17th century. Amur River is one of the largest rivers in Northeast Asia. In the world's rating, it occupies the 9th place on length. More than 75 million people live in Amur River's basin. More than 90% of the population accounts to China. Amur is the Russian name given to this river. However, the Chinese name for this river is Heinlongqiang, literally meaning Black Dragon River. The Amur was especially important in the period of time following the Sino-Soviet political split in 1960s. Around the 17th century, the conflict between Russians and Chinese arose. The Russians started to expand into eastern Siberia and as well to the recently rising Qing Empire. Coming from the north, the Russians tried to settle. The Chinese people were aware of this. The Russians reappeared on the river in the mid-19th century to finally be able to settle on the northern part of the Amur River. In the year 1858, they were forcing China to yield all lands north of the river to the Russian Empire. In 1860, lands east of the Ussr and the lower Amur were acquired by Russia, as well, all this by the Convention of Peking. The Amur region remained a relative backwater of the Qing Empire for the next century and a half, with Aigon being practically the only major town on the river. What happened in that conflict? With the 4,380 kilometers dividing Russia from China, and after 4 years trying to deal and find a solution, in 1969, finally, both nations clashed. The Chengbao-Demansi Island conflict flared up in March of 1969. Both nations were fighting to get both islands. This conflict has gone for centuries. However, in 1969 was the year in which these two great nations, as we mentioned, finally clashed into a war. 658,000 Soviet troops faced 814,000 Chinese soldiers. The outcome? The Soviet forces claimed that the Chinese suffered 800 casualties, while the Soviets only had 60 killed. I would like to mention 4 out of many reasons why the geographical area was highly coveted by the Russians. First of all, has a great socio-economic role and value. Second of all, its natural resources are extremely coveted. Third, its length helps the market grow. And finally, it has an outstanding military value. The 2 most important islands for the Russian in that area are called the Tarabarov and Bolshoy Ussuriski. These 2 islands divided the river into 2 sections, and they used to belong to either side until the 1860s, through the Peking Treaty that became officially part of Russia. But a question that we have to ask ourselves is, why these 2 islands? For 2 reasons: for the strategic value and the economic value. Something really controversial happened. For hundreds of years, with the change of climate and geography, these 2 islands moved closely to China, and the conflict started again. This conflict has come since the 1860s until now. I really hope you were able to learn a little bit more. Thank you very much.